And the best startup business loans with no revenue are? Hi, this is Michael with Viral Funding Solutions. I'm a business loan broker expert who's helped out a lot of startups get the right type of financing and the right type of vehicle, longer term strategic partnership and roadmap, as well as non-startups, the self-employed, independent contractors, gig workers. We're talking all small businesses, bigger businesses, entrepreneurs, etc. And I'm also going to get into the no-doc business loans. Why is that available? How is that available? And so much more. So before I do that, if you're in here now, please give me a hashtag live or a hashtag replay if you'll be watching later. We are streaming on the TikTok channel. That's why it is vertical like this. So if you see it on YouTube, we are streaming on this service right now. So I want to jump right into things. So the best startup business loan is the one that fits your criteria. So when you look at a lender, first of all, you have to make sure you get the right one. You do not want to just go online and type in best startup business loan, or just figure out that that's the first thing you're going to do and then click the first result. Whether it is legitimate or not doesn't necessarily mean it is in your best interest. You don't always get the best solution. So what you have to do instead is consult with an expert business loan broker like yours truly. I've said this numerous times. If you've been here in the past, you've heard that before, just stick with me. But no, each startup business loan is created equal for each business owner. But as a startup, you have options. You're not exactly limited. So let me go into some of those right now. I'm sure you're wondering what they are, and then I'll kind of overview them. So you have a personal / startup loan in the form of a combination of installment loans, credit cards, or a line of credit underneath your personal account, underneath your personal name. So just understand that when you're looking for a startup pre-revenue business loan, most private lenders will not give you money because you haven't been proven in time in business, but more importantly, your revenue. Credit requirement may not be in the frame, depending on the lender you go to. Some of them will not even look at a credit requirements. Other ones will. So just know that if you have no revenue, you don't have at least $3,000 per month, $3,000 on your lowest month out of the last 3 months, it'll be most difficult. And you don't have at least 3 months time in business, we're talking pre-revenue, like complete startup, no money, that it is going to be difficult to be accepted. Even if you're looking for maybe an equipment specific lender, well, at that point, it could work if you have strong enough credit and you have the down payment. Those are the two factors they're looking at, and how much of a down payment depends on what you're looking to get and what it would entail the costs on, and so much more, especially on the closing part. But a personal / startup loan is a great one to go into. And I'm going to put a parentheses or a quotation on this on no revenue, because with a personal / startup loan, the revenue we are looking at is not entirely the business. We are looking at your personal tax return or W-2 wages, or you're looking at pay stubs. That's what we can use to verify your income. So when we say no revenue on parentheses or on quotation marks, I say, hey, as an employee, what have you generated? Can you show proof of income on your personal tax return or tax returns or pay stubs? Is that verifiable? So when I use the word startup business loans with no revenue, I'm meaning like no revenue in the business yet, but you have something as underneath an employer, as an employee. Maybe you still are working for them, or you abandon that, you quit to start your business that you want to get into. You have a plan set in place, and that's a whole nother part of this equation, guys. I don't want to jump too much into in how to devise your plan. I've spoken about that in the past, and I'll leave more content down below in the description if you're watching this later on YouTube. TikTok, bio, link click. First button is the funding submission form. Fill that one out. That's what everybody does, and I can get you a very personalized and customized email response on your best funding option and options, whether you are a startup or not. And then underneath that button are more resources that you guys can look at. In the meantime, there's even a 0% interest for 6 to 18 months, up to 150, if not 250,000, that I'm going to dive into here shortly. So, personal loan / startup loan, similar requirements. You want to have at least 50,000 in annual revenue, and that again is verifiable by W-2 wages that you have, pay stubs, tax return or tax returns. Usually we'll need one, sometimes one or two. And especially if you have more time in business, sometimes giving a little bit more documentation helps, especially if you've built something underneath your business. It'll help out a little bit more. But it's on the personal side. and that's what we can lend to. No time in business is required, just 50,000, but you have to have at least 5 trade lines, 5 accounts built. So for those of you in here who are like, well, I have a 600 credit, I have a 500 credit, I just opened up some new trade lines, they're not aged accounts. Aged accounts definitely helps out a lot. Past history, past 2 to 3 years is definitely much better than just a recent 1 year, or you're still between that 1 year. So make sure that you have those at least 5 trade lines built underneath your personal side. We haven't even spoken about the business side, which I'm going to jump into that as another startup solution. And these are more of a doc type of a personal loan / startup loan. This is not a necessarily no doc. I'll jump into that in a moment, so please stick with me. And I've already created content on no doc business loans that I'll link you guys to down below in the description. So make sure to check that out for no doc business loans. And I'm going to get into that also being a part as a startup and non-startup. So 50,000 in annual revenue, verifiable, what I just mentioned. You want to have stronger credit. This is more credit based. For those of you who are like, well, I have no revenue, I'm just getting started. So you have to clean up your personal credit. That's all we ask for. We're not asking for business credit. We're asking for your personal credit. Hey, Mark, I sent you an email back, by the way. I had a question, and I'll come back to you if you stick around, but it's in the email. Go ahead and look at it. I sent it to you today. The difference with an equity line, just so in case anybody in here is wondering, a lot of the times we can't use that for business purposes, especially when we list that underneath and what the contracts entail, especially if you go to a traditional bank and what they're doing. So alternatives to an equity line, for those of you in here wondering, we can do things like, and I spoke to a few lenders on your situation, by the way. That's why I needed a little bit of time to go over this and what they were still doing. But I would recommend, if you could, you already have maybe a lump sum, I would recommend a line of credit. Are you open to an unsecured line of credit where you don't have to offer up collateral? You don't have to take equity out of a house or anything like that. I would recommend doing that. In my shoes, if I were doing that, looking back, I wouldn't go ahead and put a piece of collateral up. If I knew I can get this amount or somewhere in between that ballpark, then I'm going to try to at least see what I can get with the soft pull. And if it makes sense to me, if I don't get all that I want, and it's not that I need everything at once, I'm going to say, okay, well, I can start with that. And then I have a lump sum to work with. So then on the lump sum, you come back and get more funds on if you needed it much faster. And then in the line of credit, we can increase it over the time. So I always recommend an unsecured line of credit first and foremost. There's commercial equity lines of credit, of course, home equity lines of credit, and there are a few things. But you want to look at that email as well as a few other things. And for those of you in here wondering. So back on topic. So I talked about startup loans. There's more to the criteria on getting that startup loan that I'm going to leave more information for you down below. I've created specific content on each and every one of these services that I'm going to mention, by the way. So I'm not going to cover them all in detail. Just know that it's there and it's available. And the questionnaire form, I'm going to leave it for you down below in the description. And the difference with coming to me, if you haven't noticed or haven't worked with me before, I've seen you open up that email, Mark, by the way. You might not be here. And so I have a system that shows me, and I have a email software that shows me when people can open things and stuff. I just need to be more, not like I'm rushing. It's just I need to know when people are doing these things so I can be on top of it more so than anything. But just so you guys know, there will be individual sources to these services down below in the description, in the bio. There should be some of those already. But what I want to go into now, I know I lost a little bit of a train of thought there, but I want to get into, and this is why I try not to diverge too much. So what I just spoke about was that startup loan, personal loan, similar requirements. I know it's not underneath your business, but we have to do what we have to do, and we have to raise our credit. So if you need a form of just increasing your credit by yourself and you know you can do that, then go for it. But if you need credit repair, I honestly recommend you guys do that and get it to a 650. Get a 680. 680, then you can start using the credit line hybrid if you have 680 on all 3 consumer credit bureaus. Then you can use credit lines from those business credit cards, liquidate the cash out of, put it in the bank, or use it however you need to choose to use it for different investments. So that's what I would do. There are more requirements to the startup personal loan. Again, I'm going to leave you to down below. There should be a separate video, or fill out that questionnaire form to get in touch is what I recommend, and I'll describe to you more about what that entails. So start another startup business loan with no revenue. It's not entirely a business loan like we just saw, personal / startup loan not being exactly a business loan, but you can do business credit cards. I know that doesn't sound fancy to you. You're like, well, I didn't come here to watch this video on a credit card. I came here to watch on how to get a business loan for my business, Michael. Well, I'm giving you, if you go somewhere else, they're going to try to bait and switch you. Hey, yeah, we can get you a business loan as a startup. And then they make it sound all fancy. And then they tell you, hey, now this is the personal loan. This is what we're going to get you instead. Awesome. Appreciate you, Mark. So what I'm going to do, Mark, hang in there with me. Now that I have that answer, I'm going to go back into that email and I'm going to give you the full questionnaire. Like I had to ask a few questions, or I had to go and ask you that. Now that I know that answer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the best option for that 200K, the best lender, the best association and company that I recommend going through, that I've been able to get a lot of people a line of credit through. More flexibility, better underwriting, a lot better underwriting, better lender, of course. So I'm going to show you that. And underneath it, I'll show you more options. I filled out about 25 questionnaires, guys, last night from 9 to about 11. If that does not show you guys my dedication, I shouldn't have done that. I have personal time. I have things I got to do with my family. But I did it. I took time late last night to catch up, and they were not as fast. So I had to take time on each and every one of them. I put my headphones in, boom, boom, boom. Every person has one now. And I still have a lot more to catch up on. If I go down my email list, I have you guys on my notepad here. I'm going to also go back to those of you who I haven't filled out or haven't responded back to yet. So please be patient with me. I'm looking at them all as we speak right now. Like I can scroll through them all. So please be patient. I still have quite a ways to catch up on, but you're getting it from the best. There's a reason why people come to me, because that relationship you have with me on a personal and business level, but also because then you're able to grow and expand much more fluidly. Excuse me, that word, sometimes I get it mixed up. But you want a longer term strategic partnership. You want to be able to say, hey, if I have this option, well, okay, like right now, equity loan. No, let's not do that. And I consulted with lenders, by the way, Mark, on that. And they said, in this market, do the line of credit. Before, they would have said, okay, we would have been more flexible to help and proportionate some of that for a business. But right now, especially how the banks are and who you're going to get that home equity line of credit from, the approval amount and all that, and what you can take out from. So what I recommend is doing an unsecured line of credit. And for those of you in here who are wondering what that is, it's a line of credit is what you can withdraw from and use as you choose. And you only pay a withdrawal fee and you have interest only on the amount you withdraw. And perhaps, let's say for an example, you were to get $200,000. You don't have to use all that up at once, and you're not only given 6 months. You might be given 12 to 24 months, 52 to 60 weeks or so. That's how lines of credit work. We can probably push up to 18 weeks. It's a lot harder to, but even if you had 12 months, then that's where we look at it and go, well, you only pay interest on what you're using. So it still helps you in a way. And it's not like a lump sum where you're expected to pay it back in 12 months and here's the repayment on that. So just so you guys know. Do you? Yeah, I could tell you do. I already saw your file, Mark. I'm not a shark, though. I think you know that by now. I'm a very concise, well put together in my thoughts individual, and so I like to grow with people who want to grow with me. And there's a lot more. Like I don't want to say that word because it shouldn't be said, but I give bonuses to people who come through me. Like I can't say those bonuses, and I can't say what they are, really initiate them. But I'm going to actually send one out today to a lady who in the Arcadia, California area. I'm going to send her a response back because she got $200,000 in funding. She has an A plus file too. And she went through a company that I don't want to list here because a lot of people are going to go out there and try to do it themselves. And it's not the way to do it. You guys don't want to do that directly. I can work directly. I can work indirectly. And indirectly in the brokerage setup, it's the most flexible option you guys are going to have right now. But yeah, as an A plus file, I'm not going to jump at that and say, hey, come to me and do this. No, I'm actually trying to help you with another option who I believe is the best for what you're trying to do. And if it then turns out to become where, hey, you already had a lump sum, you paid this off, you maybe want a second position, a third position, or you go, hey, I completely paid 50% of that balance. I just want to remain underneath the one position, or I paid it off completely. I actually need more on top of my line of credit. Hey, Michael, I trust you. You seem like a very reasonable, nice guy. I think people would say that about me. My younger brother, my family would. And that's why people come to me. They come to me because they have somebody that they can lean on longer term. They're helping also a small business owner like themselves, not like these companies out there who can get another client for 300, 400,000 or whatever it is, I don't look at it as a number. I look at it as the relationship that I have with that person, and I'm going to go to battle. What I'm doing on my back end, Mark, and everybody else in here, you guys don't realize this, but I'm going to my underwriters. I'm pre-underwriting before I take it to an underwriter, the right one. I'm seeing who's the best one. I can probably see 2 to 3. A lot of the times who I work with too, we can beat offers like that completely. So whatever you had received, Mark, in the past with like that lump sum, I'm sure that we could have beaten it. I know that. Okay, so what I'm going to do after this live is over, Mark, you'll be my first priority. I'm going to go to that email. I'm going to put that email response together with all your options, lump sum or not, but line of credit at the very top, and that's where you're going to want to refer to. There will be a link to get started with that. So just so you know, with fintech companies and how lenders want this to be done, and then I will follow up in the process. So I'll have that. I'll be here for another 5 to 10 or so more minutes though. So I know we went sidetracked. So another one, like I said, business credit cards. Not a fancy topic. Nobody wants to talk business credit cards or business credit building. I had Cedric in here yesterday. I'm not sure if you're in here today, but I greatly appreciated him for commenting and for helping people out in the chat. You are most welcome. I'll talk to you soon. I got you. Don't worry. You're in the best of hands. I promise. 100%. And so Cedric in the comment section spoke about things, and he said, from his experience that it took time. It took years, 8 years to solidify getting a 70 DNB score. And not for everybody will it take that long, but he was going back and forth trying to apply through the right vendors. Lowe's, maybe there's a Home Depot out there. There's other automotive perhaps, or a Uline, a Granger. And it takes time to understand how that's reporting to your credit. And if you're not doing it correctly, it's not going to work. So business credit building through vendor credit, like Uline, building more trade lines and accounts. It's going to bring up your profile, especially when you go and apply for an SBA loan. You're going to fluffen it up, and you're going to have so much building underneath it and so much money invested into those accounts that it's going to look better for an SBA lender. So that's business credit with vendor credit. I'll leave a free business credit video series in the description or in the bio link. Click on the link tree down below, I believe still towards the bottom. That'll be the free business credit building video series. Check that one out. You won't be disappointed. I've helped out a lot of people, and there's a system that I'm using underneath the best. So check that one out. Business credit line. So that's 0% interest for 6 to 18 months. So there's a credit line hybrid program as a complete startup with no revenue. This is literally no docs. Now we're getting into that part. I know we waited long enough, but if you watched the other video on no doc business loans already, you would know this, as I said this in the beginning. So you have pre-revenue, or you have time in business, you have the revenue. You can still participate in this. This is 0% interest for 6 to 18 months, but you have to have a 680 on all 3 consumer credit bureaus. No if, and, or buts. It's not just as simple as I have a 625 Experian. The reasoning behind you need to have a 680 and above is because we need to see enough accounts reporting that we can then say, hey, you are liable, you are eligible, you've shown past history that you can make your payments on time underneath different accounts, mortgages, car loans, student loans, whatever that is, there's more. And then we feel more comfortable giving you these credit lines to work with. It's like a business line of credit. If you're getting a business line of credit, that's with revenue. And as a startup, it'll be harder to. Like Mark here, who will be likely getting a business line of credit, has the revenue, has the profile, is not a startup, has time in business. He's taking out a lump sum. He's already shown me what he can do. Now, if he had come to me in the beginning, I would know a lot more based on what he has and what he took. And I can communicate with him very effortlessly, very, harass-free? Yeah, that's the one. Very hassle-free, pressure-free. And that's how I work with everybody. And you see the value. When you see that amount, you're like, well, $200,000 on a lump sum, paying back $269, $259, whatever that amount is, it doesn't matter. I got 18 months or whatever I received. I'm going to take that money, I'm going to take it in, and I'm going to make $400,000 with it. I'm sure that's his mindset. And that's the mindset you have to have. So as well as everybody else in here, so the business credit line, liquidate the cash out of those credit cards that you're using and use it for any investments. Once you have that level, now you can apply when you have less than a 680. You can have a 600. I would say have a 650. Don't go 625. You could do that, but you're going to get minimum amounts, maybe a 500, maybe a 1500, maybe even a 5,000 at most. But other cases, you want to make sure that you have your credit level at least at a 680. That way you get the best of both worlds. Now, if you're not there yet, you can still apply. Just make sure you have everything clean in your credit. derogatory accounts, chargebacks. You have these open new trade lines that they want to see at least a year or so built underneath that. Enough meat and potatoes. And that's why they're going to look at it and they're going to say, hey, well, you haven't done enough here. So while I thought I was going to give you 20,000, instead we're going to only give you 10,000 to begin with. But 10,000, Jesus, 10,000, that's more than enough that I need. So then if I get my credit score up to a 680, you're saying that I can do this more? Yeah. So in the meantime, if you're at a 625 or 650, then you maybe need a form of credit repair. Maybe it's something you need to get removed and disputed. I can help you with that. I actually outsource this to the best in the credit repair space, and I'm not joking with you guys. Like, I have the best connections, best underwriters, best lenders, best connection and network by far on a personal and business level. I'm here sitting with you telling you this while I haven't even had breakfast this morning. A chipped tooth, I have to go and get it removed, extracted, get a implant. It had come to that point. I'm here expressing things, raising the bar, not that I have to, but because I really care and I want to. Not because somebody told me, hey, Michael, or our boss told me, hey, I have to come in here and do this video. No, because I know this makes a difference, and I'm not giving you guys fluff. I'm not giving you guys things that don't work, things that I've done already myself. I wouldn't just be saying it just to say it, just so you guys know this. I don't want to go into my story right now this second, but I'll leave it in the bio. It's there. Check it out, as well as in the description. Learn about my viral funding story and how I got to where I got to as an expert. But that's another way, no doc. And if you have to provide some docs, usually it's no docs, no bank statements, no financials, no year-to-date profit and loss, balance sheet, all the things that I would ask for. And I have to look at when I do SBA loans and other types of loans if we need those or advances. If they were to ask for some docs, it's because you have a business and it'll benefit you. Even if they ask for a tax return, they're going to look at that. They don't normally do, but hey, it'll benefit you as a business owner because that can help you get approved for more. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing. But when people start going, hey, you didn't tell me it was no doc, or it usually is no doc the majority of the time. But hey, well, what's the problem with providing a personal or a business tax return, Mr. or Mrs. Owner? What are you trying to hide? Like right now, I'm working with a business owner who, for past fraudulent activity underneath their bank. Like, here's one thing I want to address to you guys on the banking activity. So actually, before that, stay with me. I'm going to go into that. But more startup options with no revenue for your business. I pretty much listed them. And crowdfunding, equity crowdfunding, angel investors. You have the SBA Microloan, the SBA Community Advantage program. You have grant opportunities underneath those that you can take advantage of. Normal crowdfunding. There's hedge funds, venture capitalists, but that's a whole nother topic, especially if you already have a business that you're running and it's enough and you want to invest any kind of equity. They want to take equity from you. Friends and family, 401k/IRA financing. That's a huge one, guys. I'm sure you didn't think about it, or you did, stocks and bonds, mutual funds, but 401k you can use. I know you might not want to. You want to save that for your retirement, but the 401k, the IRA financing, that is like the top of the top to invest in. If you can't get into a personal/startup loan, you don't want to do the business credit cards, the business vendor credit, the credit line, maybe there's something there you need to get into your personal credit, get it up. In the meantime, you're focusing on your 401k IRA financing setup. We can do the two. Set them up. And then once we withdraw from what you have already have saved, then we can use that to start that existing business or purchase that existing business or start a new venture that you want. I have a lot of people who come to me who go, I want to purchase an existing business. They themselves don't have the credit, or that other business owner doesn't have the personal or business credit, or they don't have the profitability of 2+ years time in business, or they don't have the experience to navigate that business. So it won't work. They don't have the 10%. They will need 20 to 30% of a down payment. Post-closing liquidity, you're only going to be having about $50,000 in the bank. We cannot have that. You're going to burn through that money quickly. And at the rate we're seeing you use your money and what you withdraw, you're going to have nothing in your account. 401k, IRA financing, home equity lines of credit, those are your best options. You have the personal/startup loan, business credit cards, the credit lines, crowdfunding, equity crowdfunding, and there's more like grant opportunities. And there's a little bit more to that too, but you're seeing now that it's not always as cut and clear. A grant right now, oh my God. You know how much time it takes to do that? I did that in the past. I can only imagine how much it is now. It takes so much time. It takes months. It doesn't even take 5 months, 6, 7, 8 months. It can take a year and above to honestly get one. And I know how that sounds foolish, but it happens. There are grant opportunities new galore. People always advertising a new grant on YouTube. And if that's your thing, that's your thing. I've done it before myself, but it isn't like I continue to come out with new grant videos because that's not what I want to target. And that can be something that gets you views. I'm not there for the views. I'm there for the impact. I'm there to make sure that each person is taken care of, not these grants after that. And it keeps getting you another high. You get another dopamine effect. That's what ends up happening. Oh, another grant. Oh, you're like a dog on a, oh. I'm not trying to be mean or aggressive, guys. I'm just trying to give you guys some tough love. That's the truth. And that's what these YouTubers, that's what these people and these creators know they're doing. And they might be ethical, they might not be. I'm not saying they are not. What I'm saying is they're giving you valuable information, but is it very valuable from the right source? And are you getting enough from that person? So it's about having that relationship with them. Now, let me come to the comments, and then I'm going to get into some of the banking activity that's been happening recently, and then I will conclude. Can you use it for a different type of business than what you initially applied for? So if you're saying, are you saying that if I applied underneath one entity, can I use what I applied there and received for another business? Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, especially with business credit cards, the credit line program, those you can. Sometimes with revenue-based, like private lenders, unless it were for a purchase of another business, an existing business, a franchise, it can still be a little bit difficult too. They want to make sure you're using it for your business, per se. But they won't restrict you. A lot of cases, you can get that money there and then apply it the way you need to apply it. So it's very flexible. And it depends on a lender per lender case on what they see fit, especially at the different tier of lenders that you go to. I know that lower tier lenders, they won't want that. They want to see you using it for your entity that you applied with. This is what you need to use the funds for. It's not like it's strictly like a bank where they're going to tell you things like that. Like, hey, inventory, this is for working capital use. Okay, we can't lend you past 300. They're not even lending past 500,000, past $1 million right now. And it's pretty bad going through the bank. I know you may get lower in bank rates, which I recommend if you can get a bank loan, go to the bank. I'm not saying don't, but it's not as attractive anymore because of the, especially line of credits that they're pulling from people. I've had friends and family, I've had clients who lost $250,000, $1 million in a line of credit because they weren't using it. They didn't even withdraw from it at least 1 month out of the year. But you don't get as much. You have contingencies. You have to put your home on the line, collateral involved, just to get a lower rate. When you could have gone maybe a little slightly higher or if not more, but the benefit is there. You're going to double, triple, quadruple your money. Don't just take money to have it and let it sit there. If it's a lump sum, if it's an SBA loan just for working capital and inventory, that's why they have you put a lien on your property, on your home per se, more so your home than anything. And they'll look at other real estate or other collateral and insurance policy. There's more on the line, especially with lower amounts like express loans, SBA, small SBA 7A loans, excuse me. There's the standard SBA 7A loan past 350, past the express at 500K and above, and so much more. You are most welcome. And let's see here. You got my email, but you were wondering if we can talk on the phone to discuss. What I prefer, okay? And I'm not saying I don't want to get on a call, by the way. This is not what this means. Don't take it this way. So I did respond back to that questionnaire. I know that because I did it just the other day. And that's not in fact. And so what I want to know from you is what specifically stood out. So as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a man who values their energy and time, because I got lenders, underwriters in my ears. I got clients today. I got people who are saying, oh, I didn't submit the right account for my banking. Can we do it again today? And I was at a dentist appointment yesterday in the afternoon. And I get somebody who's telling me, hey, I didn't input the right account information for this. And that's fine. It happens. But I'm like, let's get it done right the first time. What was the major problem? So what I recommend people do is they respond back immediately to that email. Like, hey, Michael, I saw that option and this is what I had a question about. Boom. And if it takes a phone call to have to explain that, then I will. But the reason behind why I don't get on phone calls with people all the time is because of things like, well, is it the most energy and time efficient? It's not about the relationship. It's not about that at all, emotionally and logically. I have to make sense of it all and say, well, I got to guard my own energy and time. If I had everybody who wanted to get on a call with me, what would I get done? As a person trying to release content, as a person trying to work with the lenders, the underwriters, and so much more. So you guys have to position yourself where I'm at right now and meet me where I'm at sometimes. And it's not always a phone call. Other times it is. But I can't always be doing that. I learned those lessons a long time ago. And if I keep doing that, this wouldn't work for me. I would probably be out. I wouldn't be doing this business, guys. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing at the numbers that I'm doing. And it's not a number thing for me. It's about the value that I create. Keep that in mind. Yes, I remember. You'll be in touch. Appreciate you. Okay. Yeah, I'll be looking out for any email or any text, anything that comes through. Just let me know. And it's pretty cut and dry. That's what I love. And I appreciate that. Whenever you guys come to me with a bigger problem, I love it. Like, give me the biggest challenge. Give me the biggest challenge that I can receive. That's fine. I don't mind solving big problems. That's what I'm here for. I solve the biggest problems out of any other broker or agent, honestly, out there, I would believe. On the fact that I've been in this industry so long, I've received funding myself. So I know the trials and tribulations when it comes to like closing on different services. And I know, like, in terms of getting the offer, not closing you. I don't like the word closer. I don't even like to sell. I don't like that word at all. I like to just make it like a stress-free room. Just, here's your offer. Here's what I recommend. I know, just remember that you're using the funds for this. And when you take this, this is how it'll benefit. And this is what it'll look like in about 3 to 6 months if you needed more funding. And this is the best alternative. I've looked at everything. I've looked at 2 or 3 of the best lenders in your space. And I know that they're willing to dive in on this one. And that's what you should look at. So just keep that in mind. My email, it is my first name, which is MICH, A as in Adam, E as in Edwin, L, at viral, like something going viral, funding, solutions, with an S at the end, .com. So let me say that again. So my first name, Michael, with an AEL, at viral, funding, solutions, with an S at the end, .com. You guys can also go to viralfundingsolutions.com and then learn more about me. You guys are going to see my smile when you guys go to my page. And then let me actually guide you guys through it right now. And then I'll come back to the comments. Oh, banking activity. So I've had people who just make sure you have your account information correct the first time. When we go and do a closing, we usually do a decision logic after the hello sign, application, contract agreement. You enter information there, you send it back. There's a decision logic bank verification. Now, how many banks we have to verify depends on how many banks you currently have or what you're in transition of. Maybe you have a new bank, but we still have to see that other banking account information. It's very safe and secure, especially with me. And so when you're asked to input your username or password, sometimes we'll ask for a temporary username or password if you messed up the first time. But when people come to me and go, well, my banking won't allow that. We've had fraudulent activity in the past. Well, first of all, who was that fraudulent activity caused from? I could care less right now about, I see that there's fraudulent activity, but who caused the fraudulent alert? It's like a credit. So if you have a fraudulent report and you have that alert, can you report it? Can you get it removed? Does it take more time to get removed? What do you think you need to do? Is it on your part or is it on somebody else's part? So first and foremost, let's work backwards, reverse engineer. What caused the fraudulent activity to happen? If you don't want to be honest with me, if you don't want to be transparent and give it to me, sometimes you don't want to because you feel maybe embarrassed or you don't want to provide that information. But when you know me, and you'll know that I don't cut corners. I'm going to challenge you and make you at your best, because with me, stuff like that just doesn't fly. With me, you get the best. And when I ask that question, be upfront. Hey, Michael, I had defaulted in the past. We already knew that, but I'm just waiting for you to tell me. I would have said, hey, it was possibly caused from the default. Did you hear about that back then? Was it caused by this connection? Oh, well, maybe it could have been. Well, you should have known that answer some time ago. I would have been asking those questions already. So when you came to me, I got the answer to this. And so it was probably caused by another third-party connection software through your banking activity with a PLAD, with a decision logic bank verification, a hello sign, etc. Another thing with Google Drive, maybe there's something with Dropbox that you need to log into within the contract agreement and a few things. But be transparent with me as much as you can. And there's a reroute. And sometimes when you've defaulted in the past, guys, in a lender, like I had a lender who recently came back to me, hey Michael, let me know if this person is like, this is about a week or so after. We told them no because they defaulted. This lender comes back to me, hey Michael, I'm willing to work with them to get them eligible. And so they can put some skin in the game. And so they can prove themselves. We're not going to give them a lot. We're going to give them about 7,000, 7 to 10,000. We're going to give them about 100 or so payments underneath 6 months. And they have this daily payment of about $104, $105. Oh, $105. Well, hey, you're getting pardoned. Somebody's coming to you and telling you, hey, we can give you 7,000, but you got to prove to us that you can make the repayments. If you can't prove to this, there will be more repercussions. And it's your own fault for doing that. So if you need money, you've already defaulted in the past, but somebody is going to come in. It's very rare, and I have the best in the space. There are only a limited amount of people, a couple, who will actually pardon and go, hey, because of Michael and because they know me, they don't just do it for anybody. They come to me and they go, send me emails all the time. Hey, Michael, I noticed that your client had defaulted. It was some time ago. They cleared things up. They actually showed that they were resolving it or in the process of it. After some long thought, I'd like to give them about 7 to 10,000, if not more. Boom. And if you need it around that range, even better. Oh, it's not everything I wanted, but can you make use of it? Does the benefit exceed the repayment? Does it? That's a second chance you don't always get. So don't waste it. And if you were given it, I would do it myself if the benefit exceeds the repayment. My cash flow is still going to be positive. I really needed this. I'm going to put this money to good use. But you're going back and forth because at that point, what happens is you won't get a manual input bank verification so that the lender can ACH deposit, ACH withdraw. It'll have to be an over-the-phone situation. Why? Because what's happened in the past. We want to make sure you get the money, one, and then two, that you are going to be trustworthy. The lender may ask you a few questions that they want to hear from you because there's been some fraudulent activity caused by yourself. Maybe not the bank. The bank is probably telling you, hey, we don't want you to do this, link this account, because that's traditionally what they're used to. That's what they want to tell you, but they don't know how it works on the private lending field like I do. I know how the bank loans work. I know how the private loans work with private lenders and beyond. So it isn't that the bank caused it. The bank is just intervening like they should, like any bank would at that point if there's been some fraudulent activity in the past. But it wasn't caused from the bank. It was caused by your own connection. It was probably caused by a default. It was caused by not making your debt obligations. So why are we spinning backwards? I've even told people like they want to call from me, but I'm going to send them a quick text message because we're going around this way too much. If they're going to want this, it's either a yes or a no. And I need to know this. And I've already discussed the parameters. Why are we coming back to this over a phone call? Over the amount that maybe that's going to be accepted. The lender doesn't want to spend too much time on this. They got to move on. They're like, well, it wasn't worth spending that much energy and time on. So you have to make a decision. You have to think about your long term. Well, if I don't take this, another lender is not going to just come back and easily give you money. You've already been shut down. Somebody desperate enough who doesn't really know how to do business will, but they're going to be an even bigger liability. So what are you going to do? Does it make sense? Does it not make sense? You defaulted in the past? What's the reason why you're giving what you're giving? So yeah, contacting me is by email, virofunding.solutions.com. Denise, there is also the bio link click, first blind funding submission form. One of the two options to select from, fill out the questionnaire form, and then I will get back to you guys. I have more emails to do. I think I'm going to do more tonight. I don't know if I'm going to do 25 because last night I got busy from it was actually around 8:30 to about 11:30. I worked my butt off, guys. I needed to get caught up. And then I apologize for you guys because I'm flooded. Like, I will get back to you. I remember people. Believe that. I do. And I don't take anything for granted. I love what I'm doing. And the reason that people do come to me is because of my story. And it's also because of the effect that I have, the network that I have. It's not just going out there and applying and spraying and praying. That doesn't work. I have people who come to me who've done that, who go, hey, Michael, I got an offer here. Do you think you can help me beat that? Or can you do better for me? I actually resonate with you more. And you've given me an education on this like nobody else ever has. Nobody's business giving me that education. You gave it to me. I didn't just speak to a customer service rep. I didn't just speak to anybody. I spoke to a professional who knows their stuff. And I'm always in the market. I got meetings to go to at the end of this week that I'm going to be doing usually over the Zoom. So this is stuff that I get from my lenders and my underwriters. And if I don't get it from them, I know it already because it's from experience and because of what I already know. And it's not always the information you guys find online isn't as credible. So be very careful. You are most welcome. I thought I have. I know we've been going back and forth. I think I've sent you a few emails. I'm not sure if you've seen it. What was your latest email too, by the way? I thought I did. I know there are a few people right now. And I just opened up your email, Mark, if you're still in here, by the way. I know you responded back. I just didn't get a chance to see it, but I see what he said now. And I'm going to go back again after this. It's been 10 to 15 minutes. Just hang in there with me. I got you. And over here, we have Jalisco Albert. Welcome in. Yeah, loans are still available. It's not a rush because those loans won't like evaporate. Now, what does evaporate is the lender's offer. I can hold an offer a little bit longer than most people can. But like right now I have SBA loans, like especially SBA loans, people who are out of town. There's a lot of offers that I have for SBA loans right now from people that they're going to take, but they're just on vacation or they're out of town or doing something else or need more time to think about it. Which, by the way, an SBA loan, sometimes there's a good faith deposit that is on the term sheet from most of the lenders out there. And this is like something of about 1,500 to 2,500 more or less, depending on your file and how much they had to take the time to underwrite your file. You guys have to put yourself in our shoes and see how much time we're all underwriting. The underwriters themselves are underwriting. The lenders are looking at the file. And some of this stuff can take months to get done, 3, 6, 7 months, if not more. And so there's that good faith deposit that they want you to deposit because we want to make sure that you put some skin in the game, that you are being serious about this, that this is something that, there's cases where people, pass away. There's people where they're not as serious. They abandon it. They say yes, but then do something else at post-closing. And the underwriter is like, my God, this person is terrible. And we just spent about a month or 2 to 3 months to underwrite this whole file for them to come back. So we want to see you put some like security in it. We want you to put that upfront cost, and it's a little bit, and it can be given back over time depending on the file. So that little amount to get that big amount, the term, the years, everything like that, and it's legitimate, guys. So a lot of the SBA lenders right now are doing that. Not everyone, but most of them are because they want to see you put some skin in the game, especially if it comes to like post-closing liquidity and a few things. But yes, you can still get in, Jalisco, Mr. Albert. And bio link click, first button funding submission form. What would you be using the funding for, by the way? Is it to get new equipment, used equipment, insurance? You need to get more employees, more fuel. I know the costs are pretty high. And a lot more. So working capital, maybe it's a mix of all of them. So a lump sum would work better for you. Maybe not a line of credit. Unless you have the details. It's hard for a trucking business to get a line of credit right now, especially a lump sum. Excuse me. Lender, I just had to make sure. So it's very hard, especially for a transportation, trucking, logistics, any form of transport, hotshot, etc. It's hard right now. So I can understand why it is because I've been in that industry. I have friends and family as well, so I know how hard it is for you guys. I've funded clients a lot. Construction, retail, restaurants, you name it. Anything, technology, I've done. Collateralized, non-collateralized. Real estate, I've done a lot of those. I have great real estate investor friends, so I've built great connections with. And so much more. So very honored, very grateful. Hey, appreciate you bringing that up. And I want to say this just so everybody can hear it. You're an international advisor. Awesome. And I would be interested to hear more about it. You can send me an email. Feel free to. That would be a good point of communication. Send me an email. Let me know, hey, this is this person from TikTok. We spoke. And I want to make sure I'm getting this right. But I am speaking with Rosaro. Am I saying that right? Is it Rose? So I'd be happy to hear. I'm always open to any new venture if it makes sense for me at the right time. But yeah, feel free to send me an email, which is Michael, my first name, AEL. That's the way, at viralfundingsolutions.com. Feel free to put it in an email for me as much as you can. I prefer it that way. It might be that it needs to be a phone call for that, but I would appreciate you putting it in an email for me and just let me know what you have in mind. I don't want to take away from the chat right here and start talking about different investments and projects. I don't want to go too far away from what we're talking about. Is it Jivar? How do you sign up to learn? I want to learn how to get the loans. Hey, everybody take note of what he just said. Okay? I want to learn. How many of you say that? I want to learn. No, the majority of people go, just send me an application. I've had people who don't even send me their right social security number. Like today, I've had multiple clients who I had heard back from my lender, or my underwriter, excuse me. Hey, Michael, this person didn't send me the right. And it kind of looked weird, so we still send it through, but we're like, yeah, that wasn't the right one. They're afraid of giving that up. It's a soft pull. They asked me, it's a soft pull. For that specific application and that part of the process, of course, is a soft pull. But we can't move forward unless we verify the identity, the entity, as well as the credit. That's how we also see with social security numbers. Social security number, EIN, sometimes it's either or, but social security number is usually a required field. We just want to make sure. There's ITIN numbers. We want to make sure if you're a resident and if anything, hits the fan, you have to, there's deportation. There are problems like that happen. But we have to make sure for anything. So bio, link click, and then the first button is what I would start with. First and foremost, fill out the questionnaire. Everybody in here listening, by the end of the day, when you leave this, the only thing that should be ringing in your ear, your thoughts, should be questionnaire. And that's where you guys should go fill it out. There's the business funding questionnaire. There's a real estate questionnaire. My processes are where you guys will see it, usually on the thank you page. If you're a startup, I got to go do a change on my thank you page. But for non-startups, the majority, you'll see that thank you page where there's a video right now. And you guys should watch it. It's about 16 minutes. I know it's a little lengthy, but watch it. I'll walk you through what I'm telling you right now. My processes and why I do them the way that I do them. Because if I didn't do it that way, I'd be working another 9 to 5 that I don't want to do. I'd be doing things that are not time freedom. They wouldn't be as cost and energy effective. And so my processes, my systems and automation, I believe are better than any other broker agent out there you are going to come across. And I have a systematic mathematical mind. That's how my mind works as an introvert. So I'm always thinking about building something new. I'm always thinking about how do I iterate that. Inferential statistics, I took a lot of that. I took descriptive statistics. I took the calculuses of the world. I took the integrals, the calculus 1, calculus 2, calculus 3, etc. Economics. I took chemistry. Chemistry was my favorite class. Guys, I loved it. I loved learning about thermochemistry and everything. The highest chemistry courses I took. Of course, there's organic chemistry. I didn't go so deep, but I understood organic chemistry, and I still do. So it's like you're getting the best of everything. I have worked a 9 to 5 like the majority of people do. I did construction. I did manufacturing with my dad, uncle construction. I did warehousing, retail. I've worked different roles, logistics, financial role, and a certain amount more. Just to figure out, not that I wasn't unstable, it's just I was figuring out there's more risk in this one. No, they didn't appreciate me enough. I had to go back to school to do this academically, finish school. And I did university, community. I have a lot of certifications and much more. So I'm a very cerebral person. Good question. Are SBA loans hard to get? They are if you don't have these 4 things. And I spoke about this. I don't know if I think I released a video already online. I'm going to be releasing another one today on how to find the best business loan lender. There will be 2 parts of it. I might release the one I just recently did, but I think I'll do the one that I did before that. So there are 4 parts integral. So number 1, especially if you're purchasing an existing business or a franchise, etc. But 1, equitable collateral. Like what can you have in terms of equity? What can we look at? Okay. Number 2, liquidity. How much cash can you have on hand? Do you have an asset that you can take cash out of? Have cash on hand. Have cash reserves in the bank, more importantly than anything. Because at the end of the day, where we are withdrawing from, we have to make sure you have enough. So that are two things. Number three, you have the down payment. The majority of the times, you won't need a down payment. For certain SBA loans, like purchasing an existing business, even if you're not purchasing an existing business, even at post-closing liquidity, there's somewhat of a down payment, you can say. So 10%, if not 20 to 30%. I've had people go into 30% because they can't match. Like you're looking at $5 million, but you have 700 to 800,000 in liquidity. You have enough cash reserve. Okay, but that's now not going to meet us to about 75 to 85% of that guarantee on what we can do on the SBA side. So with that 700 or that 900, the down payment, that probably comes out to be about $1,300,000. And I'm doing the math, the DSCR on this. They would have to refinance, consolidate a little bit of that, clear up some loans, get some more cash reserve, or if there's enough collateral. The fourth part, so down payment, then you have experience. But the collateral is also, if we need to look at that, we'll look at it. It's not always that we need it. And so the fourth part of that equation is the experience, especially when you're purchasing an existing business. Do you have relevant experience in that business? If not, do you have any kind of micromanaging? Do you have any kind of supervisory, any kind of ownership, presidential role? What have you done in that business? And if you haven't, then we want to see that some experience. Like if a transition from a manufacturing plant to a restaurant, like, or a restaurant to a manufacturing plant, like, is there some kind of an association with that manufacturing plant and how it's going to affect your restaurant and how it's going to help it? Okay, we see the correlating factor. So it's a subset. It's somewhat complementary. It's substitute, but it is complementary at the same time. But yes, it could be hard to get if you don't have the qualifications. 2+ years of recent profitability. You want to have at least 2+ years, at least provided with 2 years of personal business tax returns. I look at all this stuff, guys. I'm a broker. So I look at all of it before I send it to the right lender. I'll look at your file and I'll go, no, I can't send them to this client, this lender right here who was actually the best for everything. I have to send them to a tier lower, which is okay. Nothing wrong with that. Well, okay, what kind of collateral? Then I look at, we look at these parts and I go, okay, this would be the best setup for them to this kind of lender. In other cases, I have like 3 to 4 lenders to pull from. And we go through the brokerage, which is better in this market. An in-house look is what you guys want, especially with an SBA loan. Bank loan lender or non-banking loan lender. There's those as well that I have. And so when you're doing an in-house, it's more protected, safer and secure. Underwriting is by far the best. You're not seeing people using all different underwriters or the same underwriter, especially if you go through like the SBA.gov site a lot of the time. You get the same underwriter and you might not get the best look. Best amount of financing for your situation and the lender that understands your position and your niche and what you're looking to do with those funds. More importantly is the question behind that. How do you use your funds? And the numbers that are going to come from that. Yeah, possibly you haven't heard anybody get funded because it is a time-consuming thing and it can be scrutinizing. A lot of people who come to me, you know, whether they haven't never had a business loan or they have, you have existing debt. Like existing debt, we're going to need to look at consolidating. Okay, we can put it underneath an SBA loan if we can. Well, other ways you'd have to consolidate that. And if you have to refinance all of this, we're like, we would need to at least refinance a little bit to bring your debt service coverage ratio up. That way it can approve you for more in the term and everything. The reason why people don't do it is because they ultimately, especially at the offer stage, they get cold feet. They really didn't think it through entirely. And a lot of the times they're not in a need for it. So like when you get somebody who applies for an SBA loan, like the person who like really needs it and like goes, oh my, I really want to work on this. I need additional funds. I think the SBA routes to go the best instead of getting another position here with this advance or the loan or whatever it is, the line of credit. So, okay, we work on that. And they're more appreciative in saying, okay, I need this right away. So I'm going to pull the trigger on it. I need it. I get up to 5, 7 to 10 years, up to 10 years working capital, 25 years with real estate. So it just depends on the file that comes through and how the funds are going to be allocated. And when you don't have a good enough reason for the funds and how you're going to allocate them for inventory and working capital, I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of the times you're going to have to put your home on the line, which is fine. If you are okay with that, that's fine. If that's what it's going to take for you to get a good return on your investment, and then it'll help you also at the same time protect your home, it's fine. It's like you're going to a bank. Now that SBA loan lender is going to say, hey, I want to put a lien on your property. Here's your home. Here's the value of it. Here's what I need. Okay, fine. Second part, do you have another form of real estate? If it's that, they may put it on that one as opposed to your home. But a lot of the times with lower amounts, home. An insurance policy, do you have that? So if not, they might ask and require that. Other proposed collateral, equipment, inventory, accounts receivable, unpaid invoice. It's fine. If you're looking at getting like triple, quadruple the amount from what you got, if you got a 200,000 lump sum or a line of credit, and you're like, I got proof for 800,000 or a million or 2 million in an SBA loan because of the DSCR and a few things, I don't know if I'll have that again. So you start playing it in your mind, and you can come back to me. I usually share with you a term sheet. Take time. I have people right now who haven't gone back to me because they've been on vacation. Take time. It's pressure free. I'm not pressuring you to do something you don't want to do, honestly. But I'm going to communicate why this is important. Just remember why it makes sense, how you're going to be using these funds. And a lot of the times when you come back, these lenders, they don't want to always work with you, just so you know this, because you've abandoned the process and you do it again. They got to underwrite certain parts of it again, unless you're very serious, and that's why they ask for deposits as well. For new equipment, got you. Thank you, Albert. So yeah, if you're using it for new equipment, of course, there is no timeline that says it's too late. Unless it's like the employee retention tax credit, guys. That's where up to 2024, up to 2025, it might expire. It's when you last amended those returns or you have those 941s filed. So the date of the last one filed, etc. But I wouldn't wait on that. If you are eligible to get up to $26K per employee in a refundable payroll tax credit, jump on it. And if you guys want to speak about the process, come to me. I'll help you guys out. I do these every single day. I work with my payroll management team, and I can handle the file if you'd like. You give me authorization to, but it doesn't have to be. You can upload it safely and securely online. Bada boom, bada bang. You can get an estimate before that. Done. I can follow up with you in the process on the status of it and what, if anything, I need more from. So it's very hands-off for you. Like, literally it is. Just upload some 941s, tax returns. And I know it sounds so simple, especially if we don't have it. And we're like, oh, we don't have this filed yet. And for 2020 and 2021 eligible quarters, like if you were to get a credit up to $1 million, what would that do for your business right now? People are like that. They're not hesitating. They're going, oh, other people are, because they don't have the education. So with me, you get the comfort and you get the best team. There are a lot of programs trying to get you an ERC, but I know the best. I vetted them through. I've worked with other organizations. I see the way that they do things on their back office. I've attended the meetings. I've done things there. And I go, no. So believe me, you have a trusted advisor. And I can even ask you too, like, what kind of equipment and what are the costs for that equipment? Is it a semi-truck, 18-wheeler? What are you looking, and how much funding would you like to get? And it's also understanding if you can even qualify that with your pre-existing revenue. If not that, credit-based, in a combination of credit-based, making sure you have minimal inquiries there, of course, and then combining that with more of a revenue-based financing program. Guys, I do this every day. Like, if I see something, I've seen the hardest problems come to me. I've seen people who can't get an SBA loan to purchase an existing business, so I've gotten them through a personal loan, through creative financing, personal loan, installment loans, credit cards, lines of credit combination. On top of that, we waited about a little bit, and then we came back in and we did some form of a credit line. And we worked on a few more things, and we got them a bank term loan on top of that because they were able to do it that way. They had the credit, they have the facilities to do that. So a bank term loan, unsecured, sometimes it is where they need to put a lien on your home, but not in all cases. We can work that out. So a term loan, then we did a personal loan. Boom, boom. You had enough debt to income ratio to help you get that personal loan. Maybe you use that as a down payment or vice versa. And then we have credit lines. You have your business credit card so you can liquidate the cash out of. So when you think about it, you're like, dang. And so that's why I'm in better position. That's why my credit is high, because I've learned these things personally and in business. You'll learn it. Trucking business startup, and you need to get a truck. I hear you, Denise. And so as a trucking business startup, I'm not sure if you heard this in the beginning. I know you've been in here for some time. I do know that, and I recognize you guys for who you are, and those of you in here commenting. And if you're not commenting, it's okay. It happens. I'm an introvert, so I get the feeling. And so as a startup, and you're needing to get a truck, like if you have no trucks, like that's going to be hard. That's already hard. But if you have the credit and you have a down payment, like it's hard to get in with like a 600 to 500 credit. A startup, like right now, a 680 to 700 and above, like they really want that profile because there's such a demand, less of a supply. You guys understand the demand and supply curve? If you guys ever took economics or just understand the supply and demand curves. So there's a large demand for it. A lot of people saying, give me. but the supply of it. And that's what's making those trucks more expensive now, and the costs that's driving it, and especially the economic factors that go into it. But with the right information, even at a personal loan level, like it doesn't sound attractive, and even as a personal / startup loan, that probably might be your best route if you have everything. You have the verifiable income. You probably look at getting 75 to 120K if that's even enough. But it might be something that if it's not a new piece of equipment, it's a rentable one. You're doing a lease to own situation. You can't own it outright. Or maybe there's a sales leaseback for those of you in here who have existing trucks, who have titles, who maybe want to give it up, collateralized, in heavier pieces of equipment. Or if it's an SBA loan, and that's what the lender, I know that the lender is going to look at your trucks and say, hey, are you willing to forego these trucks to get this amount of financing? You think about it and go, that's a $700,000 truck, or that's a $300,000 truck. Combination of 2 to 3 trucks, I just spent about $800,000. So your return on your investment for each and one of those trucks, what will it do for you monthly? What will it do profit-wise at the end of the year? And you go, okay, but if I took that $5 million SBA loan, I could take that and purchase even more trucks, and then I could take that money that I have left remaining and use it this way. So in a way, like I'll give up 2 of my older trucks to get that amount. I'm okay with doing that for getting that money that's going to be sitting in my account at a low amount. You got to understand the opportunity costs. But bio link click, Denise, and then go through the first button, which is the funding submission form, and then I will help you out. And then for those of you in here who are saying, like Albert and a few more, on purchasing a new truck or equipment, it's helpful for me to know what kind of equipment. You don't have to say it here. You can put it in the additional notes section, so it can be between you and I as well. Sincere. I want to buy a business. What's the best loan for that? Correct. SBA, by far. SBA loan acquisition, franchise acquisition, even as a startup business owner yourself looking to acquire a business, if the financials make sense, if your financials even make sense too, but we're looking at that business that we're acquiring, their financials. And that's stuff that we can look at ourselves. The lender can look at. There can be an association like that. But I would do it through the SBA. I'm getting those done like regularly right now. A lot of SBA loan deals, working capital, payroll, inventory, consolidation, refinance. Growth and expansion, though, is the key. And if you can take that business that you're acquiring and then continue to grow it and expand it, obviously you know your reasons, then keep doing it. That's what the lender likes to see, a reasoning for taking these funds and how you're applying them when you have that existing business that you purchase. That's what they ask a lot of the times. Like, I'm asking these questions myself, and I can bring them to you. Like, my lender can come to me, say, Michael, can you go ask this person? Can you go ask Denise? Can you go ask Albert? Can you go ask Cedric? Can you go ask them? You have that relationship with them. And I do. I normally have that relationship with them. And the lenders, they trust me. It's never fake. It's never fabricated with me. What you get is what you get. I'm a very sincere person. But one thing is, don't waste my energy. That's a huge pet peeve. If you're wasting my energy and time, like, don't do that. You cross lines. And that's where you're creating friction. That's where you're creating resistance. It's your problem. And you know where that comes from? A deeper level. That comes from your personality. That comes from your characteristics. Don't tell me it's a horoscope thing. But it comes from your characteristics. They're fundamentally flawed. And so I'm not attacking anybody in here, by the way. I'm just saying that because fix your character. Please. Because you're coming into this all stubborn, egotistical, look at me, cocky, or hey, I'm so frustrated. You just say and voice anything you want. And I get you. I'm there for you. Lean on my shoulder. You got that. It's not your fault. But at the same time, meet me where we are. We're now at this part of the communication. Why are we now going 3 steps behind? I already gave you clarity on that. You forgot? Okay, it's fine. But please remember this. And then this is our next step. So by our next point of communication, just look that over. Let me know what your thoughts are. I won't rush you. But I would prefer to hear a response back in the next 1 to 2 days, as the lender would too. So I can go back to them. SBA loan, yeah. Acquisition, businesses, you can do seller financing. If that's what it comes to, if maybe you don't have so much of a down payment and you have an agreement with the seller, with the owner, president, whoever it is, you look at it and go, what are the numbers? How much are they willing to put in? So that I can put in probably less if I don't have enough of a down payment. The years may be cut less though. It might be more expensive longer term. So I always recommend, and I won't go back to those 4 things that I spoke about earlier, but an SBA loan acquisition, There's personal loan, term loans through the bank that we could try to use as well, like I said earlier, in a few setups. But if you want to get help with that the best way possible, and like I say again, don't just go through the SBA.gov. Contrary to popular belief, I'm telling you guys that right now. Those people are probably just coming at it from a marketing point, or they're coming at it from, I have such a big following that whatever they say, anybody can get attracted to. Just be very careful. I'm telling you guys honestly, like what I know. I've had people who done that, thought they went through me, but they didn't. And I went ahead and told them like the problems of doing that, and they've seen those problems. And so hey, it's not my fault. That's something you decided to do because you rushed it. You weren't paying enough attention. You are trying to get funding for real estate deals. What type of property? I've lost 2 deals in the last 3 months. And why is that? I mean, if it's personal, don't get into it. Even if it's business related to, we can talk about that on the back end. What I recommend, and is this meaning like, not as a broker perspective, right, but as a real estate investor with properties, trying to get another property done. Is it commercial, multifamily, single family, whatever that is? I'm not going to get into the rates right now, loan to value, loan to cost, and all these things, because I do get into it very deeply. But at a surface level, that's something we can talk about on the back end. If you're looking for another property, you're looking maybe at a refinance deal, then I have a questionnaire form in the bio. It's the second one, I believe still. It's the real estate questionnaire. Click that, and there will be about 10 or so questions you can answer if you have another property lined up or will have a property lined up. And in the addition, I think there's an additional note section that I still left in there. You can ask me anything you want, and then I can just verify. I can see a few things on my end. But I'm getting real estate deals done myself, guys. I'm taking people who don't have land or have land, converting that into a ground up construction project. And then once we have the numbers and they look right, and then I have people who are going into then a commercial property mortgage. Other family, multifamily is huge. Multifamily condos are huge right now. Single family, multifamily, duplexes, fix and flips. But fix and flip, sell and hold, I mean, there's 2 different things right now in the market. But real estate right now, guys, is booming. One other thing too, that I have a friend of mine who might want me to get into this, but using Bitcoin to purchase real estate, it's going to become huge. And this year, you guys have to have cash on hand. Like if you have those business credit cards, have that cash on hand if you're putting it into real estate. Try to liquidate that cash out of those credit cards to have them, because there are going to be a lot more implications with banks pulling cards. A lot of banks restricting you to use those cards. They'll give you a lower limit. They'll drop the limit. And then you might be saying, oh, well, I can't even use this. I got to go seek out some other kind of financing. Or something even worse goes on, like you lose everything. So having more cash reserve on hand, if it's in the bank, okay, but probably not where you want it. All right, but just see if you can have it somewhere reserved and then have that on hand. That'll definitely help you out this year. I love it. Thank you for saying that, Denise. And she wants to learn, like everybody else in here now. If you haven't had that realization, if you're in here thinking that I'm a scam, if you're thinking that I'm a phony person, I'm not. When you guys really get to know me and know where I've come from, you guys will really understand, like, I do everything ethical. And if I see something unethical, whoa, nope. I cut out lenders who want to work with me. Lenders come to me every day. Organizations come to me. I'm not even kidding you guys, my emails. I have a separate email for that. They want me to send them deals. They want me, no. But unless they are somebody who's very reputable, or I like go, hey, well, they're on their way up, I'm going to see if I can help them. And it fits. The glove, the shoe has to fit. But I appreciate that, Denise. Thank you for saying that you want to learn. And yes, you have to put some skin in the game. That's what it takes. And the skin in the game, guys, is the learning. Like, it's the learning part of that equation. Don't discount the learning. It's like a chemical reaction, the combustion reaction. CO2, water, you're making a combustion reaction. So think about it. Put yourself, and this is the proper equation, and I'm going to round up this video. So, first part in line, you. Okay? So we haven't even gone to our products. We are still on our reactants. So the first compound or we can just name it as a single element. At a granular level, foundation level, we have the person. That's you. What's revolving around you now is your characteristics. It could be the personality, strong or soft. It's okay, either way. Your characteristics. Who am I on a deeper level? Do I really understand myself? Am I egotistical? Do I just get frustrated? Am I going to lash out on Michael? Am I going to just put all this burden on him? I don't want that. I'm not by any means not thin-skinned. I'm thick-skinned. But at the same time, nobody deserves that. And there are times right now where I don't even reply back to people who are even doing well in business. Like, we're talking millions a month, who I've like kind of put on the back end because they've done things in the past that I wasn't appreciative of and they knew better. They just don't listen and did the things that they thought they should do, but they weren't best for them or just didn't work the way that they wanted it to be. Hey, hopefully you learn your lesson and you gain my trust back. I'm not just going to give it to you. So, personality, characteristic, work on those things. Personal development, work on yourself. As a business owner, you should be doing that. As an entrepreneur, business owner myself, I'm always doing that. And I've done that for years and years. And it took a while for me to look in the mirror and say, why isn't my business growing? Well, it's because I'm not growing. Your level of business grows to the capacity of what you can grow with yourself on a personal level. I'm telling you, this is the truth because I've been in business long enough. I mastermind with the best, very high tier too, by the way, and mastermind. And I know that's the fact. That's the differentiating factor is you. Okay, who do I need to become to then become the person, not in your business yet, but in the application right now? Who do I need to become for them to be that person who goes into the application, smooth transition, no resistance, no friction. I don't want to bump heads. I never bump heads with people. But I don't want this. See what I'm doing there? You leave that out the door. And so when we go into the application, I'm going to be very upfront and honest, give you feedback, but will you give me feedback? I need that feedback from you. Hey, you've been gone for 3 days. You didn't tell me you were going on vacation. I told you that, hey, this is a time-sensitive thing. Tell me you're going on vacation without me having to ask you if you're going on vacation. So when you do that, hey, I'm going to give you feedback. The underwriter said this. I communicated with you effectively. Now, you can take a day to 2 or so to think about it if you have an offer or you have to make a readjustment. And if I am able to go to my lender and negotiate something, I can. Not always will you have that negotiation power. So just think about that. Now, let me come back to the comments. You are most welcome. Yeah, I can definitely do that. Loan on a property. And the reason, okay. I know you said that earlier. You lost it because of funding. I just want to know exactly. Oh, you mean your own funding. Okay, maybe a down payment or some other form. Is that what you're referring to? Post-closing stuff, liquidity, etc. That may be it. But yeah, I can do that. I can work it through. I can see what you've had problems with in the past. That's what we need to diagnose is why exactly, because of funding, I know, but there have to be a little bit more. There has to be a secondary constraint that's holding you back. It's maybe not the experience. It doesn't have to be the property type, but there has to be something else there that we're missing. And if you don't have that, I mean, I do. I'll know once I get more, but I would recommend going to the bio, and I can do that, like we were saying. And bio link click. Second button is a real estate form. You can fill that one out. The first one's for working capital related. Working capital, private lenders, they don't want to lend usually on real estate investments, so got to be careful there. Hi. You have everything in order with your business, but you seem to not be able to get a gas card, like fleet cards, gas cards, right? I was going to start naming those kind of gas cards, by the way, right now, but I'm not going to start doing all that. Wex, Shell, there's a lot. But it depends because in your industry too, it's very industry specific. If you're trying to jump, you're up on a tier 2, tier 3. You got to start off tier 1 sometimes. They won't just give you a gas card because you don't have any past business credit, vendor credit history. So you got to build those trade lines. So that's probably why. And I've had that happen before to the friends and family. Get in touch with me. I can help you with this. I got to see it more carefully, and you got to put a little bit more in the additional notes section for me so I can see that. And I got to know too what you've tried. Are you monitoring your credit by chance? And that's also another thing. If you guys are not monitoring your credit, how do you know what you're reporting and what you're doing and what needs to change? So if you're looking for a gas card, that could be a huge reason why you got to build up to that tier. How recent are those trade lines? Are they very new? And you're saying for everybody else in here, I need a gas card. Or you need a gas card? Oh. I know you meant to put card. Or credit card to build faster. So you're looking for a credit builder card. Okay. Yeah, these credit builder cards are low in amount, but they build up fast. That's why they're a credit builder card. They're meant to work fast for you. And so making multiple purchases, guys, is the name of this game. Making them in little like $10, $20, $30, like it helps, but try to make them like 100 and above, 300 and above. And it depends on that vendor you're going to. So like 300 and above, 500 and above, and 2 to 3 days after that. And then every week you're making multiple purchases of high amounts. That's really going to like change your view on all this and why you're not getting what you want to get. And it's another thing that you're purchasing from the right vendors. I've had people who have had to build everything from scratch because they didn't do it correctly. And this is a circumstance where you'll have to possibly use not a gas card, but another form of a business credit card. That's what it's, if you're in a pinch. Have you applied to other business credit cards, by the way? And I use business credit card because gas card if you're using it for business. Please do, Denise. And then in the bio, that questionnaire, like I said again, I would fill that out. And then there's an additional notes section. So at the very bottom of it, you can list it right there. Like it'll give me the best of two worlds because I'll see what you're trying to do, your business and everything. It's not an application, by the way. So this is what I show you guys before we go into an application, so you know. And then you get a free 6-step pre-approval lending checklist to get you funding much faster, more pre-approved, and so you're to know without a shadow of a doubt. But fill that out, additional notes section. You can even put it in a separate email for me. But I got to see also at face value the business. Like I got to see that because I can see it. If I go to questionnaires, I can see already without looking at bank statements and returns and all this. Like that's another part when it can change a little bit. But I can give people a pre-underwritten file on a ballpark range with my underwriting guidelines. Underwriting guidelines per lender that you guys don't know about. It's just not always listed online. See, that is an issue. That's a red flag. It's a big red flag, and that's why you're not getting a gas card. That's the main issue. So if you don't have your DNB, and is that meaning like you have a DNB, but it's just not reporting to DNB? Is that what you mean? But if you don't have DNB and you're looking at getting approved for a gas card, you're looking at getting approved for retail credit, other kind of credit, Amazon credit, what are they reporting to? They want to report to DNB, but they can't report. Or there's something fraudulent or something, there's a mistake or something you haven't cleared up yet. Even when it's a mistake and even when something that wasn't caused by you or it was an issue you had in the past that you didn't resolve, that comes up. That's what stops you from getting those cards. So you got to figure out what is it with that specific vendor or what is it with that specific DNB. I would get on a phone call with them if that's a necessity, or reach out to them and see if they can help you a little bit more with that part. Until I have further and more information from what you are dealing with, I can't say all the personal specifics and business. Appreciate you. Thank you, Kino, for the follow, as well as everybody else in here. I do not say this enough. I had Cedric in here yesterday. Perhaps he'll drop in here. What a delight. He was in here commenting. He took the information I've been giving him for months. He's been following me for a long time. I drilled it into his head. And very nicely, like literally did not drill, but I've been saying it over and over. And so I would appreciate it. I don't say it enough. I'm not like that. If you guys were to share the room, share it with people who, I at the tail end of a cold. So sometimes I have a little bit of a raspy throat and a cough, but I would greatly appreciate you if you were to share this room with others. I'll stick around for a couple more minutes. I was going to close. If you can share it with others who you think will need value from it. It can be a complete stranger. Maybe you have a friend on TikTok right now, or a friend on YouTube, or somebody who's out there like, I'm self-employed, but I don't know what to do, or I'm an employee. I need funding to start a new business. I need funding to acquire a new business. What do I do? What are my options? I need somebody who can tell me the underwriting. I can tell me to acquire a new business. What do I do? What are my options? I need somebody who can tell me the underwriting. I can tell me who's most up to date in the market, what lender's best, what underwriter should I look for. Not being able to just apply anywhere and everywhere, but also making sure that they are in the best and safest of hands, and that their security is secured and that they are not going to be at fault. And whenever it is at fault, it's not normally caused by myself or my team. It's caused by not even the bank by itself. If it's a banking link, it's usually the individual themselves. Like, what they caused already a problem in the past, it's coming back up now that they're trying to apply for more financing. So clear that up before. Appreciate you. Thank you for the email. You are most welcome. SMP, appreciate you. Thank you for the follow, as well as those of you who I didn't mention earlier because I've been trying to communicate, and then scroll up and down. Not a lump sum of working capital to be applied to a multifamily, like a real estate investment. They wouldn't want to lend towards that. But if you're doing a traditional real estate deal, then yeah, you can use that for sure. Get in touch. Bio, link click, second button. If you already have a multifamily, property lined up, which sounds like it, I want to know the value. I want to know a little bit more, down payment if need be, I'll know that. So I'll have that already in my questionnaire. So when I see that, I can evaluate it myself. And then if I can ask for a soft look at terms and rates, if those are even doable. And then I can follow up with you after that. And I have the best lenders in the space, by the way, just so you know, for any kind of real estate financing. Commercial real estate, I do those. I have a lot of those right now, especially SBA. Those of you with CRE loans, SBA. Traditionally, even the banks are pushing towards SBA loans right now. So do an SBA 7A CRE loan. 504, okay. But for the SBA 7A CRE loan, that's the one that all the CRE loans right now are going through. And I'm getting a lot of those done. People with 5 million, 4 million, 3 million, 2 million, less than $1 million. Helping out people do those right now. And they're getting funded, by the way. There's just not people inputting information. Not sure why my nose is itching. Honestly, I don't know. Sometimes it's like, I don't want to get into it, but yeah. Sometimes like a little, piece of hair at the end there. But it happens sometimes, right? I even had it's kind of weird with my eyebrow. I even have an extended piece of hair that grows out and I have to remove it from time to time. Sometimes I don't see it before, and so when I'm around friends and family, they'll laugh at me before they say a word. And I know where they're looking and I go, oh. And then they pull it out. Literally, I can pull it out myself, but sometimes there's like a little piece here that like sticks out. I don't know why that is. Just kind of funny though. Excuse me. What bank for loans are good for 560 to 580 FICO, tiers, LLC, and business? Okay, so the year is still a problem to me. Like, they want more time in business in this market. They can see you for 2 years, but they want to see somebody who has 3, 5 years plus 5 years. Honestly, they've brought up their requirements, especially with credit. Like at a 560, 580, they will not really want to look at your file. They honestly, a lot of them will just cancel. You want to have somewhere above 625. 650. But the biggest concern that the banks have right now, excuse me, that would be your revenue. Like, they're pulling back on getting even the smaller businesses. Like, they're looking at higher corporations. They're looking at higher institutions. Businesses who are doing closer to 4 to 5 million in annual gross revenue. They want to look at somebody who's doing 10 million and above Honestly, that's what they want to lend to. So they're pulling back a little bit right now on those businesses that are more smaller to medium size, and they want to look for more larger size. Medium firms and larger firms, yeah, medium is still in the mix if the revenue makes sense and all other details look great. But yeah, I would be aiming at not even an SBA loan would be great with your bank, but a lot of the people who come to me don't even get it through their bank, even if they're a bankable client, because there's more flexibility and the better underwriting you get with coming to somebody like me, with the bank lenders that I have for the SBA, are much better. The credit committee and everything. And they're more specialized, honestly, so they understand it better. Even if it were raised by a 0.1 point or 0.2 or so on a rate, it's not a significant difference. It's just better underwriting, faster underwriting, and more flexibility. And how you use those funds, exactly. But a term loan is what a lot of people will end up getting because the lines of credit they're pulling away from. SBA loans have become harder to, but term loans are the ones that people are getting. Even if it's up to $500,000, you might not even get past $500,000, even with spectacular amounts, because they have reserves. They want to make sure that they're not using it too much and for the right business. And so a private lender is looking at you and going, they have the revenue. That's all we need. We don't even need collateral. Or if you want to collateralize, you feel okay with that. But there's more flexibility over here right now. And so the banks have been shying away, even giving you a term at 2 years, that FICO credit score, I don't even know the revenue yet. Like, they're going to be very scrutinizing already from the get-go. Less than a 600 credit score. 625, they'll give you some room. 650, okay. What are we working with? 680 and above, boom, you're more in the door. 700 is preferably what you want to shoot for. Have cleaner credit because they will look at that. And there will be some old person in there looking at your credit and they're going to be very scrutinizing. They're going to say, back in my days, if we gave them something underneath the 700, and so they might get you with somebody like that. And then it's like, oh, and they're not always in communication. Don't think that the person here is communicating with an underwriter. It's not always that simple. And so what we're doing on an opposite side is we're all communicating with one another. So that's the best thing you guys get. You guys get me, the underwriter, the lenders. We're all communicating and we know what's going on. So it's not like we're one person here, one person there, and then it's all divided. So you got to think about that. DJ, welcome in. So I'll leave this open for about another couple of minutes if anybody has anything they'd like to say. Appreciate you guys too for sharing the room, for being here. I believe the amount of value that I can bring you is unparalleled to what others can in all fields, all different industries, different services. I also have a digital marketing background. I have a digital marketing agency. I have affiliate marketing businesses in the health space, non-health related too, that I then diverged into. So I still have those that are running. I have a few setups there that I can kind of just like leave and then come back to because my primary focus right now is business funding. You know, I've been doing this for so long now that I know as an expert, guys, by the way, if you're just tuning in and haven't heard of me before, this is what I do. This is the meat and the potatoes of it. And so at any point, if you guys need help, let me know. I've been in this position before. You're looking for financing and what do I do? Who do I turn to? I beat offers every day, just so you guys know. Ethically, too. Like best of the best lenders. I can look at something and go, oh, okay. I'm going to take this to the lender. I know for a fact we can actually beat that on all scales. Or if we don't beat that exactly, like I'll give you some recommendations. If it's not with me, like that's how honest I am. What other person will do that? Good question. And I'm going to say this out loud for everybody. Some of you who probably have already seen what I'm about to say, they're like, oh, get ready for this answer. I've heard it before. I'm getting there. Relax. I saw the email, or I saw the comment. How can I talk to you one-on-one? Good question. So everybody wants my time over this. Now, I can't give it to everybody. Honestly, I can't. You can't as a business owner. Be realistic. How would you be answering calls every single day or giving calls every single day? So what I recommend each and every one of you do is in the bio, link click, first button, funding submission form. Fill that out. And it's very safe and secure. It'll land in my email where then I will evaluate it, analyze, and comment back on your best funding option and options via email, excuse me. And then I'll show you like how to get business financing. Like what is your best funding option and options thoroughly broken down. So I'm going to end this video here, guys, in a second because I got to get back to Mark and a few people. Like they're waiting on me. I got more people to get back to. I got a lot of questionnaires to get back to. But fill that out. Resources are in the bio description down below if you're watching this later on YouTube or somewhere else. But yeah, hopefully that helps you. And to get that one-on-one with me, it might be a direct messenger chat to begin with. Like it's a consult, it might be a direct messenger chat. I don't always just jump into a phone call with people. I'm very protective of my energy and time. And so if I'm giving that to somebody, be very, very grateful that you're getting it because I don't just give that. And I'll give you a lot of cool tips and stuff. But yeah, that's how it can lead up into it. And then it can lead up into a phone call. I have the TikTok thing that says, great job, you're going live, you've gone live for 90 minutes. And it says here, don't forget to take a break. I think they're starting to like see how winded I might be becoming. See, they're spying on us already, guys. And so, I didn't say that. And so, TikTok, I didn't say that. And so, I'm very grateful again and humble and respectful of you guys and your guys' energy and time. Always bringing it to the table, whether you commented or not. Truly, it doesn't go unannounced. I greatly do appreciate it. And for anything you guys need, I'll be here as a friend, as a family member, somebody who needs consulting with. You're looking for business funding. Are you in the right position? Is this the right vehicle to go into? And quite a bit more. So I think I will leave it with that. If you haven't liked the video, please do. I know I'm sounding like I'm on YouTube, but it will be on YouTube in time. If you haven't shared it, please share it with others so you feel will get value out of it. Again, it can be a complete stranger, a friend, or a family member. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel and anywhere else, please do so you do not miss any future lives, videos, content, education, SBA, PPP, employee retention tax credit, restaurant revitalization fund grants, up to $2 million, $5 million, startup, non-startup loans, how to grow your business outside of loans, and how to continue moving into business and going up in higher tiers and serving your own customers, getting new customers. I do a lot of that. So that's everything for today. Appreciate you guys. This guy has to go lay down on the couch, recover with the hot towel over his head, and just sit there, probably take a nap, probably get a quick snack, and then kind of just let this all sit in again. And I'll likely be taking a nap this evening. I'll be laying in my bed after a shower like I do. Quiet in a dark room sometimes. Nobody to bother me, just to relax in there so I can recover. But I'll exercise before that too. So that's everything for me. Appreciate you guys. Take care. Bye.